Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sulk stream. I am your host, the Incredible Sulk. I hope you guys are having a good Monday and had a good weekend. Yes, that's Biz Sulky hanging out. Being, that's me as a black guy, I guess. Yeah, interesting thumbnail. Tonight we're talking about Africa and how Africa comprehends things like time and maintenance, which they don't actually have a word for. They don't have a concept of the future, and how this actually melds with Western society, or how it does not meld with Western society. So it's going to be one of those episodes, guys, so buckle up for that. I hope you guys had a good weekend. What'd you guys do? Did you have fun? Hung out? Daywave was crazy today, right? Hopefully I get some of that cash too. I mean, if I can get $4,000, can I get $4,000 in donations? Is that okay with everybody? That's my goal today. Is $4,000. That is some wild shit. That had to be a scam or something. I don't know exactly what was going on. But anyways, this is what we're gonna do. So let's get started. Let's do this. So everybody get comfy, get cozy, grab a nice bottle of Jankum, right? Top off your Jankum, everybody, because you're gonna need it. Or if you're staying sober tonight, grab a bottle of muddy water, muddy cholera water, and because even though they're constantly building wells in Africa, you can't maintain them for more than a month. And then, how do you not have the technology to dig a hole? I don't know. We're going to jump into it. We're going to figure it out. Anyways, if you're working, keep working. And if you are driving, please continue to drive safely and get home safely. Hit the like button because I would appreciate it and it helps. And any way you could support me and the show, I'd appreciate that. So let's get going. I'm the Incredible Sulk. This is a Sulk stream, and this is called We Don't Understand How Africa Thinks. Enjoy.
After the Black Lives Matter riots of 2020 and the subsequent critical race theory cultural revolution that swept all of America and even Britain and Europe's institutions, the Smithsonian posted this chart, which said that being on time, speaking English, and taking personal responsibility is white supremacy.
I remember, if you have a job and you have to show up on time, be like, you're racist. Even if you're a white guy, you could be like, I'm not racist enough to show up on time. So I'll get here when I get here, and you will pay me the full amount of me being here, right? If it starts at 8 and I get here at 10, then I expect those 2 hours to be paid for. So, otherwise, you're racist. I know I'm not a black person, but imagine if I was. All right? You're racist, and I'll sue you.
Turns out they might have been right.
I'll sue you for that.
Ask African people about their culture. The future is not a concept. Long-term planning, not a concept. Personal responsibility, not a concept. And so we need to understand how these people think if they are in our civilizations and if our governments, against our wishes, keep bringing more of them in. Because you have to understand...
No, the show did not start late. I started pretty close to... Shut up.
Without being cruel, if you input...
I got up at 9 a.m. today, which is oh my God. I slept in. And I had to do all the stuff that I do in the morning before I get on the show. But I'm here. I was there. I did it.
Foreign culture with such alien understandings of things like time and planning for the future into your civilization, you don't get the same civilization at the end of it, even if they're perfectly nice people. So the chart in question says that rugged individualism, the individual being the primary unit, self-reliance, independence and autonomy, and being rewarded for the fruits of your labor are associated with white culture. What they mean is Anglo-Saxon Protestant culture.
This guy's got some ears on him. But he makes good points.
Settler culture, in the terms of Samuel Huntington's book, Who Are We? Because America is not a nation of immigrants, it's a nation of settlers. The nation didn't exist before the people turned up. The Pilgrims rocked up on Plymouth Rock.
I'd have to wear white tees. If I was a black guy, I'd have to wear white tees. No, I don't think so. I think the camera just picked me up. It would pick me up fine. You know that black people can't be like facial recognition doesn't work on black people because like not enough light is bouncing off their face. That just means they are designed for crime. You are designed for crime at that point. If even modern technology can't figure out who you are, that is just an innate genetic predisposition, amongst other things, right? Like the ability to run and jump really high. That makes you better at crime. They are better at some things, crime being one of them.
Mayflower
Definitely.
established the Massachusetts Bay Colony and declared America as a shining city on the hill, which will be an example of biblical virtues to the rest of the world.
By the way, I've been playing a lot of Battlefield 6, and I've been getting fucking stomped. I'm garbage. I'm garbage at that game. I'm having fun. I'm playing it. Is it already hacked to death? Is it hacked to death? Or am I just like, am I a lot worse than I used to be? That's probably the case. I hope that's the case. But I mean, that I wouldn't doubt that people are already hacking it. Now, they try. I know they try. And I bet you it's been hacked. I guarantee it.
They were very high trust, very homogenous, and they were all Christian
Hey,
English.
Christian.
That's why they could say in the
I was playing
Declaration
with Christian a lot. I heard his voice. And it's not like a little kid gay voice. Because I really wanted it to be a little kid gay voice, right? And then I call him like a queer. Like, you're a queer, haha. But no, it was a normal man's voice.
Bill of Rights, we hold these truths to be self-evident. They're self-evident among a culturally, ethnically, religiously homogenous cohort that founded the country. And so, Smithsonian...
Just be floating eyeballs and teeth like the Cheshire Cat. Like, I would just... Because no white balance, right? You'd have to be dark, though. You'd be charcoal. Like purple black. For me to be eyes and teeth. I just stream like this.
Technically correct when I say that these are the exclusive properties
You did
of that
disappoint
people,
me, Christian. You
that
did.
culture, that religion.
Do better.
It says the family structure is the nuclear family. Father, mother, 2.3 children is the ideal social unit. This is true because, as we see...
2.3 now? What happened to 2.1? I have to add an extra 0.2 kids? I mean, I could save up, but I mean... I could buy parts of kids.
Ian Alec McFarlane's Origins of
like Epstein did.
English individualism. The rest of the world actually married a lot younger.
And a lot of the people all around, we're not supposed to fucking say shit like that. We're not supposed to make fun of the pedophiles. Everyone, I'm going to get kicked off of YouTube because I'm making fun of pedophiles. That's not a nice thing to do. Pedophiles have feelings too. Right? Right? I think the feeling thing is the problem.
So child marriage was a lot more common,
That's
whereas
the problem.
even in the Middle Ages, the average age of marriage was about 20 in Britain. We didn't have cousin marriage. It was banned by the first Archbishop of Canterbury, ratified by the Catholic Church in the 13th century, and even...
Yeah, but it was common enough for them to actually say we shouldn't do this anymore. Yeah, right. So, like, some guy, like, you guys were doing it, you were marrying your cousin so often, and plowing cousin so often that, like, somebody had to step in and be like, you know what? The people that are coming out of this have very large red ears. And so we just can't do this anymore. It's going to make us look like weirdos. Go on, sir.
Even when Henry VIII abolished it to marry one of his cousins among
He must have had a hot cousin.
his 6 wives, the general
Hot
population
cousin.
didn't start practicing it even though the legal prohibition was lifted, and so we had very low rates of consanguineous and sibling marriages, unlike Africa, the Middle East, the Indian subcontinent. And so that meant that we had...
What are the statistics on Indians in interbreeding? I don't have those statistics, but I would like to hear them.
a more individualistic ethic. We could extend moral consideration out beyond the family, clan, tribe, and Ummah. It meant that we were more mobile. We founded new farmsteads. We intermarried between families across the country. And so we had a relatively homogenous, though not inbred...
You got 13% Sulk today. Nope.
ethnic diaspora for over 1,000 years until mass migration happened. And this was exported to the Americas. And so our understanding of ethics and family structure and the future was also the foundation for the Anglo-Saxon Protestant cultures of the Anglosphere, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and America. And they said about the emphasis on the scientific method, history being a heavy focus on the British
Is this
Empire, the primary of...
a white Will Smith? No, because I bet his rap game is fire, dude. Will Smith's rap game sucks. It's just hot garbage. I know it's family friendly and stuff like that, but it's hot garbage. And I bet this guy, like, he's got bars for sure.
Primacy of Western, Greco-Roman, Judeo-Christian. I've never met a Judeo-Christian, so let's just say...
Because they don't exist.
Jewish and Christian traditions, the Protestant work ethic, religion with Christianity being the norm, and anything except Judaism and Christianity is foreign. And then it gets time. And it says, follow rigid time schedules. And
I've never met a Judeo-Christian. I've never met somebody who says, yes, I'm Judeo-Christian. What would that even mean? What does that even mean? Like, you do like, okay. What could that possibly mean? What kind of religion? I don't know. I don't want to dive into that right now. Or ever. But, like, never heard anybody say that. Never in my life have I ever heard anybody say they're Judeo-Christian. I've heard Judeo-Christian on the TV, on, like, the History Channel and shit like that. But, like, in my day-to-day, I mean, I live in the South right now, right? I grew up in California. Even there were no Judeo-Christians. Here, they're definitely zero.
Time being viewed as a commodity. Now, we've long had jokes about Africa timing. The idea that, Kemi Badenoch
Yeah, colored people time.
is frequently late to meetings and expresses confusion when other people expect her to have been on time or earlier or the...
Arden says Zionism is my guess. I mean, you would probably... That's a better guess than I would have, man. I mean, that's...
started without her.
I have no fucking clue.
And it's always been kind of a joke. And we didn't really understand it. But this African woman went viral recently.
You guys don't see her right there. Okay, she's not enormous, but she's probably from the continent, right? So she hasn't been in the Western world long enough to actually put on 600 or 700 pounds and be an absolute blight on society. But let's hear her hot takes. I bet they're going to be well thought out. I've seen women, black women have opinions on the internet, and they seem pretty coherent.
Because she explains why the future is not a concept.
Messianic Christians are a close one. I couldn't even tell you what that is.
In African philosophy and culture.
What if I told you that for many African societies, the concept of the future doesn't exist?
I'd be like, yeah, I know.
And that instead of time moving forwards, time actually moves backwards.
I don't think they have a concept of time at all. I mean, okay, if you have a concept of time, you have to think linearly, right? You have to think of there is a past. We are currently in a moment that we call the present, right? And how defined that is up to you. It could be a millisecond. It could be an hour. It really doesn't matter. But we all understand that there is an eventual future that we will be tumbling towards, right? If you don't have that concept of the next moment approaching inevitably, then you don't have a concept of time whatsoever. You have stories of what did happen, but that's not time. That's just like, hey, did you see what Boo Boo did? He shot that guy. And he was like, yeah, saw that. You're not going to be like, I wonder what's going to happen tomorrow. But everybody in the Western world is like, Boo Boo's going to fucking jail. That guy died. Boo Boo's never getting out of prison. They don't have that concept. As weird as that sounds, I don't know what part of the brain, like, chronology comes from. I have no idea. But apparently they don't have it. Is this a philosophy issue? How? How would that be a philosophy issue? How at all would that be a philosophy issue if, like, what you do today has no impact on tomorrow? You're not even aware of tomorrow happening. Like, you saw the sunrise happen today. You don't think that's going to happen again? Apparently not.
Was the work of John Mbiti, one of Kenya's and Africa's greatest philosophers. And in 1969, he wrote something that completely reimagines the way we think of African time. Mbiti says time is a two-dimensional phenomenon with a long past, vibrant present, and virtually no future. Using Swahili words, he describes the two dimensions of...
Christian says, will past and future be white supremacy? I mean, the future definitely is. And the past is largely also that. But remember, Wakanda existed at some point. According to them, there was some great civilization that they participated in that is no longer and will never be again. Is it cyclical? I can't wrap my head around it. And fine, call me retarded. I mean, you already call me gay and racist and every other kind of thing out there. So retarded works. You guys do call me retarded. That's fine. I can't understand that they don't understand. There's no future whatsoever at all. You don't think the things that are happening right now will affect what happens? I don't even know what to call it if not to call it the future. The forward past?
Time. The first one being Sasa, the now, the recent past, and the immediate future which can be experienced. The second dimension is Zamani. Zamani is the vast, endless past where all events eventually go on to...
Christian says William Shakespeare was a black man. This is true. This is 100% true. Just go ahead and look in the not yet past. He's there and he's black. That must be how it works. I don't know.
But the future in African thought, it barely exists.
Let's just pause on that.
Okay. Ardenshire says that science article trying to explain time doesn't exist, prepping the public on time being racist academically. Okay, fine. Time doesn't exist. And if it does exist, it's racist. But we're all still going to use it. We're all still going to have like clocks and stuff, right? We're all still going to be places during a certain day, during a certain time, because this is just how we're going to run our lives. That's how I'm going to do it. I wear my watch when I'm sleeping because if I wake up and I can't find my phone, I still want to know what time it is. Because that's how obsessive I am with what time it is. I always need to know what time it is. Because I feel out of sorts. I discombobulated. What do I want to say? Disoriented if I don't know what time it is. If I wake up at 2:00 in the morning and I'm all like, oh, well, I guess it's time to start the day. I'm not going to check the clock. I'm going to go make coffee and then making breakfast. I don't make breakfast. Jess makes breakfast and she makes the coffee. If I wake up at 2:00 and I roll over to Jess and say, hey, go make coffee and breakfast. And then she's like, it's 2 a.m. She's going to get pissed about that. So I have to look and be like, okay, it's time for Jess to make the breakfast. Hey, get up. And then I roll over and I go back to sleep until the coffee comes.
For a moment. The future in African thought, and she's describing the culture of a continent, by the way. She may be...
Scott, don't fuck with me like that. Don't fuck with me like that. Don't be like there's no sound. Don't do that to me, man. All right? I'm asking you as like just not a friend because I don't think we're friends. But like just a decent human being, which again, I don't really think you're a decent human being. Don't fuck with me like that, okay? Don't fuck with me like that.
Compressing the culture and flattening it down. There might be discrete differences between different tribes. However...
Alex says Judeo-Christian is usually a shared value system between evangelicals and Jews. Dude, what is with the evangelicals? What is with the evangelicals? They seem kind of they seem real in the pocket with like Israel. They go over and like do their farming for them and like pick their grapes and shit. Whatever. If that's what they want to do with their free time, if they want to like donate their time and their money, because remember, like a lot of your taxes also go to Israel. Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do, but like you're already paying like a good amount of taxes to Israel. I mean, it's a lot of the reason we put so much money into our military. But do what you want to do. Do what you want to do.
Given the lack of development in the continent until the British Empire showed.
Christian says dispensationalism and its consequences, which now I know what dispensationalism is because Christian sent me a video on it, and I was like, huh, I had no idea.
Showed up and introduced them irrigation and
Hey,
the wheel
Renee's.
and agriculture. Perhaps simplification is warranted. She says, in African languages and culture, for thousands of years, there is no concept of the future.
But there's thousands of years have passed. This is why there's this entire concept of we wasism. This is why there's the we was. We was kings. We was Japanese samurais. We was Englishmen. But it's never, you never ever hear, we are going to be. We're going to be in the future. I'm going to be this. Typically, there are some instances where people go to college and shit like that, and like, I'm going to be a black doctor, and people are like, get the fuck out of here. An anesthesiologist? What? Get the fuck out of here. But as a general rule, it is always we was, and never we are going to be. There's no future plans in their general psychology. It's all we are about. It's all what we were and never what we are about to be. And this is a complete shift from Western society. Like, we're going to be a spacefaring species. We're going to figure out a fusion technology to power the world. We're working on AI so we can have robot slaves and shit like that, because the last ones didn't work out, right? Cotton gin rolled around and we just let him go. I don't know why. Yeah, it's this complete reversal of two different worlds trying to mesh together in the United States particularly. It's not gonna work. Ever.
How do you plan? How do you think about the consequences of your actions? How do you have a predictable routine? How do you build a civilization
Sleep, get up, chimp out, steal, sleep. There.
where you rely on every
Just keep doing that. Keep doing what your basest instincts tell you to do. When you wake up, you have to take a shit, right? So what do? You don't plan on the shit. It just flies out of you. You're hungry, so you go to the watermelon patch, I guess. I don't know, the fried chickenery. You wait for Uncle Sam bucks, and yeah, you don't need to have any sort of schedule. Typically, you just do what feels right in the moment. There's no sort of being late anywhere. Being late isn't really a concept, because to be late, you would have to understand that there was an on time that you could have achieved, which they don't realize that. You could have been on time. They don't understand they could have been on time. No. They showed up. At least there's that.
single person in the civilization to be a constituent.
Are those glasses a Snapchat filter? That's pretty funny. No, I don't think so. I think he's just like the quintessential nerd, right? He's just doing the most. And if that's his vibe, that's his vibe. I'll like the ears and stuff. I would wear a beanie or something, or crop them out, but or at least get them cropped like a Doberman, so they're like pointy.
Part of the greater whole, all doing their jobs so that things function. The answer is you can't. Like, nothing is reliable. Everything is random, and also everything is out of your hands, because If everything has already happened,
Christian says reparations are their only future plans. Well, why don't we just tell them they already received reparations? Because they did, in the form of like taxes, welfare, DEI, a million other things, Section 8, just tons of shit, right? And be like, we already gave you those reparations in the past. Don't you remember? There's nothing, but no, it's not. It's what is in my hand at this point in time. If there's not a reparations check in my hand at this point, this is why they can't budget, right? You put an $80,000 check in their hand, it'll be gone in a week, right? If they can spend it faster, they'll spend it faster. They'll buy purple Nikes and shit. This is why it's pointless. And after they piss that all the way, they'll ask for another one and not remember whatsoever the previous reparations check. So there's no reason to do it. There's no reason to do it. It will never end. It's like holding society hostage. Hostage, because the instant they stop receiving their checks, they're going to burn down a city.
happened in the Zamani, it means that you can't influence future
You should
events.
trade ears with Tim Pool. Right. He's all like, okay. Tim Pool gets your hair, and then you get Tim Pool's ears. And then you're good to go. You got a sweet trade there. And then Tim Pool could take off that stupid hat.
You just sort of have to wait for events to emerge out of the Zamani and happen to
Rabbit says purple Nikes are pretty dope, to be honest. Not something I'd rock. I wouldn't, no.
you. So everything is very passive, and nobody's to blame for their own circumstances. So
No shit. No one's to blame for their own no shit. No shit. This is why the white man's been keeping me down for 400 years. Because they cannot possibly blame themselves. Because they have no concept of the future. So they can't plan for the future. They can't change their own future. So they are simply not responsible for the situation they are in. So if they are not responsible for the situation in, who is responsible? It must be Whitey. It must be Whitey. Because there's no way it could possibly be me. Because I have no concept of the future whatsoever. I mean, this might work in Africa because you don't really have seasons, right? There's like a monsoon season, but there's no cold seasons. People in the Northern Hemisphere had to plan for thousands of years for the season that got cold, that got hard. So they had to store food, they had to store water, they had to build buildings, they had to make clothes for the hard times. The hard times will come. And after the hard times, the spring will sprung, whatever. And then you start farming again, or like collecting berries and meat, or whatever you did, to prepare for the next cold times. It's not the same thing in Africa. This is why below this frost line, there's really not a lot of technological anything. There's not even like art. I mean, they didn't discover the wheel. There was no need for any of that. All they had to do was fight each other and pick bananas. There was always game. There was always berries. You live in the jungle. It's constantly warm. You're probably not going to freeze to death. Although you can get hypothermic in the jungle. That is a thing. You because you're constantly like wet. But still.
So this is a completely alien way of how we think about things in the Hellenistic, Christian, European world. This is why time being rigid and consecutive and being a commodity that you can identify, compartmentalize.
Commodity. Time is a commodity, and so they say time is money, but I don't agree with that. Time is far more important than money. You can make money extremely quickly if you're lucky or you know how to do it or yada, yada, yada. Time is infinitely more important because you, no matter what, have a very finite amount of time. You can make basically unlimited dollars, but you cannot really give yourself more time. Even when they discover anti-aging technology and make people essentially immortal, right? You're not immortal. You don't age. You're not going to die from cancers or old age or any of those natural factors, but you will still die because that is just the essence of being alive. So you have a limited amount of time no matter what. Time that you can't get back. You can get money back, but not time. But these people don't realize that time has an end for them. In a general scheme, they don't really understand that one day they won't be around, right? That's what an animal thinks. That's what an animal thinks. It has no concept of death or like the hereafter or anything like that. It is doing what it's doing today. Right now is the only moment that exists. No wonder black people don't get anxiety. I've never met a black person with anxiety, but like white people get anxiety all the time because we're constantly thinking, what is the future holding for us? How can we change it? How can we adjust it to be more comfortable a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? It actually sounds kind of peaceful. But that doesn't help us, right? We're working together to try to make a better future for our younglings, our children, right? They're just burning shit down and taking things simply because they want to. That's not going to mesh well. It's not.
Itemize.
Why are we watching British Owen Schroyer?
That is not a concept in Africa. And so that's not a concept to Africans who live...
Tyrone says, we all going down at a watermelon patch, brother. When? When can I meet you there? What confusion. Whenever you want. Whenever you get hungry for watermelon. Right? Which is always. So you're basically just hanging out of the watermelon all the time. Jumping sideways with your arms above your head.
In our country. How do you
like Zaboomafoo.
program thousands of years of
Leo.
cultural and familial habit within a generation? You can't. So of course that's going to have an impact on people if they move from Africa and just operate off of factory settings in Europe and America.
Because time is made up of events. Time has to be experienced in order to be real. So because we can't conceptualize events tied to the distant future because they haven't been experienced yet.
Okay, so if nothing happens that day, I think I can get it. I can wrap my head around this. If nothing happens that day, then that day just simply did not occur. Okay, so when you go to jail, time is over. But when you emerge from jail, it starts up again. I think this is where we're going. When you go to jail, it's not like you have to live in jail where there's an endless succession of days where you just like lose your sanity bit by bit. No, time just stops. Time just stops until you get out again. Is that it? So there's actually no punishment for any of the crimes ever. There's no punishment in their minds whatsoever. That's fascinating. What the fuck are we doing then? How are we going to stop people from doing crimes with this incarceration, right? This penitentiary where you're supposed to go and be penitent. You're supposed to be sorry for the crimes that you committed. If they don't even have the concept of time at all, How we yeah, so jail is like cryostasis. It must be like Demolition Man, where they just go in and then they freeze to death, or they just freeze, right? And then they come out 50 years later and they're like, everything's awesome and I'm Wesley Snipes. Whoa! Like torching shit. I'll do crimes then. I'll go out and do crimes. I'll go out and do crimes like that. Fucking we'll have what's that chick's name with the fucking hair? She looked great in that movie. I forget her name. Yeah, that chick's gonna be there. Everyone's gonna be eating Taco Bell, wiping their asses with seashells, however the fuck that works. I don't know. It sounds interesting, but if there's literally no time, it's just a blink of an eye between here and then I don't really see too much of an issue. Do you? This is a fundamental problem. This is a fundamental problem, a clash between our societies. If you can call theirs a society. Look, I'm not going to be like that. I'll go ahead and do it. I'll say you have a culture and a society. All right? It ain't going to blend with ours. It ain't going to blend with ours. And since we don't want to be living in mud huts, starving to death, and being eaten by crocodiles on the reg, what are we supposed to do here? What are we supposed to do? I was watching a Mr. Ballin video the other day. And he was talking about this African tribe that like 80 something people had disappeared in the last 15 years from this little tribe, and that was a third of the village. And in those 15 years, nobody did a fucking thing about it. Not a goddamn thing. For 15 years. A third of the village vanished at random points for over 15 years. And not once was anybody like, hey, should we look for like Matumba or something? Or like see why people are vanishing from our village? Nope. Not a single one. Not a single one. Until one guy actually discovered it was a crocodile who ate 80 people from their village. A crocodile. A crocodile was eating everybody. And then the rangers came. They didn't even kill it. They just brought it to the state park or whatever. But that's the end of that story. 80 fucking people. Not once did they ever take any precautions or like, put a watch up, build a fence. One by one, their children, their moms, their dads, their brothers vanished. Nothing. Were they sad about it? Were they ever been like, wow, that's a bummer? Little Katembe, he was so young. Nope. Just have 7 more. Bye, Katembe.
Then therefore the future cannot constitute part of time.
This explains milling. This explains
Quincy's Finest says if there aren't there anymore, then they obviously don't exist. Oh, that's actually a brilliant point. If they just vanish, they probably never existed in the first. What are they, fucking children? Humans develop object permanence at like 6 months old, right? So like when I go like this, I know my vape is still on the desk. It's still there, right? If you do that to a baby, his world is gone. It's gone, right? Apparently, if you do that to black people in an African village, the same rules apply. The same rules apply. Just cover their eyes and everything vanishes from reality. That has to be what's going on. That has to be what's going on. You don't have that part in your brain that has a stable reality going on around you. So when you blink, existence itself shatters into a million pieces and vanishes into the ether. Is that what's going on? Every single time. What's the point of me telling you my name? Why? Why? Are you going to be like, I wonder where John is? No! No, not at all. Kristen says, peekaboo, cuz. Peekaboo? Where the fuck you go? Where'd you go? You in a lockup? It's just, that must be it, right? Your kid goes to jail for 20 years. You're all like, well, I guess I don't have a kid anymore. Then he shows up and he's like, oh, I got a kid again. This is wild. It's a wild way of thinking. This is and when I say wild, I mean actually on the savannas of Africa wild. I cannot comprehend, not like, if my family were to disappear from my life, I wouldn't be like, oh, well, I would be crushed. Not like a gator fucking drag them into the canal or something. I just hunt that bitch to death. Right? But everybody else is just like, they exist in the past. That's where they exist. They exist in the past. There's nothing more we can do about it. We can't stop. And the future doesn't exist. So it's not like we can stop other people from vanishing into the canal. So you're just sitting there eating watermelon, and one he gets dragged off, and then you just like look. That's what cows do. That's what cows do. Cows sit in a pasture, eating grass, and then a farmer walks up and puts that little gas thing to their forehead, right? And then one falls to the death and starts like that, and the other cows look up and just go back to eating. Because they're fucking cows. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Why men from the Horn of Africa just sit around on benches barefoot in the middle of the day, thanks to the Boris wave, because they're literally waiting for life to happen to them. Like, we just don't operate like this as Europeans. It's a completely different world to us. And hey, look, fine.
Because we have a winter to plan for. And if we don't plan for that winter, we will die. This is probably the entire reason, right? Why more northern societies tend to have higher levels of civilization and cooperation and, care when individuals from their communities vanish into a lake. That's very scary that they don't even... Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, wow. There's no time because there's no reason to have time. You just live in the jungle and you look up and the hot thing is out today, right? So you're all like, oh, well, I'm going to take a shit and then roll on down to the watermelon patch. And like, oh, there's less people here today than there was yesterday. I guess they just never existed at all. Wow, that is profound.
I'm not a cultural relativist. I think ours is far better, as shown by the level of civilizational flourishing.
John, are you going to read The Ant and the Grasshopper again? I would. Okay, yeah, we will. Yeah, we're going to go to The Ant and the Grasshopper, and just in case, we're going to... Because it actually has it's a fundamental message here, all right? It's a very fundamental message here.
The Ant and the Grasshopper.
Uh-huh.
Moral of Aesop's fable. It is best to prepare for the days of necessity. In a field one summer's day, a grasshopper was hopping about, chirping and singing to its heart's content.
Uh-huh.
An ant passed by.
Yeah, that grasshopper was like, "What you doing, Mr. Ant?" Sorry. He came dancing up, and he was like, "What you doing, Mr. White Ant?"
Long with great toil, an ear of corn he was taking to the nest. "Why not come and chat with me?" said the grasshopper, "instead of toiling and moiling in that way."
Quincy says, so that would mean Eskimos are the most punctual motherfuckers on the planet? Well, I don't know. There's really not a lot of Eskimos around. They didn't really build a society because they didn't have other factors. They didn't have like access to like a lot of wood. They didn't, no. Yeah, there's other things that go into building societies than just it being cold. But like the Japanese and the Koreans and stuff like that, they had access to mines and lumber and stuff. And the Eskimos probably have a genetic lineage to those people, but Eskimos simply had nothing but ice and seals. So that's, and it was always cold. There was never really a summer to actually like do agriculture or anything like that either. So they were in a constant season of just hunting whales or hunting seals and shit like that. So I think it's different.
I am helping to lay up food for the winter, said the ant, and recommend you do the same. Why bother about winter, said the grasshopper. We have got plenty of food at present. But the ant went on its way and continued its toil. When the winter came, the grasshopper...
Rabbit says, I got ice and I got seals. What else do I need? Exactly. There's always going to be seals. There's always going to be ice. So you make your little igloo, right? You live in your... Didn't they have fire? Oh, they burned seal blubber, didn't they? So they burned seal blubber. They took a couple rocks and burned some seal blubber. And that was it. They were just like, you know what? We don't need to leave ever. This is good. Which is psychotic. That's psychotic. Right? Africans never leaving Africa. I'd be like, okay, it's like tropical and like, you know, all right, fine. But Eskimos who had to walk there, or rowboats, I don't know, living there, had the ability to walk out and leave any real time. But they're like, you know what? We just like the color white. We're just big fans of snow. We have many words for it. We're not going to leave ever. You do you. You do you, right? You don't seem to bother anybody. You're dying off. And I hear you're ugly as sin, probably because nobody else wants to live here, so you have to bang your sister in that tiny little ice cabin. But you do you. You do you. Nightwave Radio, thank you so much, Mersh. $2. Forget her.
Had no food and found itself
Thank you, Mersh.
dying of hunger. While it saw the ants distributing every day corn and grain from the stores they had collected in the summer. Then the grasshopper knew.
Everything's a sea cow when you have a harpoon. Well, dude, I mean, like, they figured it out. They figured it out. I would have left. I would have bailed. I'd been like, fuck this noise. I'm gone.
It is best to prepare.
I'm like, it's cold. You know, there's not like chicks in bikinis up here. There's no real reason for you to stay. They must have liked it. Maybe they had like a thing about like other people, which I get. Like, dude, there's other people down there. I don't want to do that. I get that. So they're just isolationists. Like the North Sentinelese. They just don't want to deal with people. I get it.
For the days of necessity.
Anyways, you get it. Should I read this to little African kids? They're going to be like, what the fuck does that mean? What's winter? You know, when it gets cold. They're like, it's never cold here. It's never been cold. Never going to be cold. And I'd be like, they're right. They're right. It's never going to be cold. Until some like Dutch people move in and start building cities. And they're all like, oh, these are the people that have been holding us down for millennia. They came here and built cities out of like sand. Literally sand. I mean, concrete and glass is basically just sand in different forms. So they just built these big cities out of sand. And then they're like, that's pretty cool. you guys must have been kidnapping our people. Well, at one point they probably were, but like that's beside the point. That's beside the point. But even when it comes to slavery, if you let 80 people from your village, a third of the village, disappear into a crocodile's mouth, what's it matter if we take a few for slaves? Is it really that unethical? Is it? You guys don't even remember. You guys didn't try to stop it once. So what's it matter? I'm not saying slavery is a good thing, but like there's a lot of people out there that says slavery is a total evil. But like when you frame it in this different kind of lens, it becomes a lot more respectable. Ardenshire is going to make a clip out of that very sentence I just made. And it's going to be a toughie to defend myself on that one a decade from now. But go ahead and do it because I like a challenge.
We were capable of before we intermixed with these inferior cultures. But if they want to pretend that the future doesn't exist and everything's just in the...
Ardenshire says John N-word, and then Couchturfing says my dad will be so disappointed. I know, me and your dad have had some conversations. Some pretty fucked up conversations.
Money, that's fine. They can do that over there. But if you input that culture into our civilization, sort of great machine of Anglo-Protestantism in America or English Christianity, you don't get Britain, England, Canada, Australia, America, Northwestern Europe. You don't get that at the end of it. It's like putting Play-Doh into a sausage machine. You don't get sausages, you get Play-Doh.
No, you get Play-Doh sausages, and they are still technically edible. They're not as good though. Quincy's Finest says we all know the blacks that ended up here had it way better in the long run versus African brothers. Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that like they don't wake up and be like, thank God I don't live in Mogadishu or Monrovia or like, you know, the slums of Johannesburg or something like that. Like, I don't know how they're not so thankful that they're not. You live here in a building made of sand. I told you this before. They probably have no concept. And you get pieces of paper in the mail where you can go trade that for food. And you don't have to do nothing. You don't have to do anything. Why are you mad? Why are you mad? I don't know. I don't get it. But like my head has been, my brain's been wrinkling quite a bit during this video because I'm trying to figure out why you can't understand the concept of tomorrow. It's blowing my mind.
At the end, like, we can't have a civilization if people don't think the future exists. I can't believe there's a words that are leaving my...
No, not Monrovia, Canada. Monrovia, Liberia. Monrovia is the capital city of Liberia. And it was established when slavery ended in the United States. They were given the option to return to Africa, and some of them did take that option. They were put in Monrovia, named after James Monroe. And it is hell on earth. And they eat each other. Yeah.
My mouth. It's something the immigration system has never calculated.
California, Monrovia, no, it's not California either.
For because it believes in the blank slate and it believes that fundamentally
I don't know where Monrovia, California is.
All people are exactly the same, and that any cultural, economic, or education differences can be easily remedied. Like, how do you even educate someone into our culture if they don't believe the future exists? They've got
You can't. You can't. That's impossible.
no common frame of reference for which to buy into our culture. And yes, of course, there are exceptions, but those exceptions prove the rules, because those exceptions must be exceptional, otherwise the entire country would be indistinguishable from our own country, because the exceptions would be the majority.
Boom. He's right. The exceptions prove the rule. Yeah, of course there are some that actually have a concept of the future and stuff. But that's because they're the exceptions. They're not the main body of the populace. They are completely different.
And the people produce the country rather than the country producing the people. So there's a reason that Africa does not look like northwestern Europe. And part of that is because they don't believe the future exists.
And this is why
Part of it. There's also an IQ thing, right? There's also an IQ, well, which is another thing that is related to the weather, right? Because as the winter approached, the person that was better at preparing for the winter, who was able to stock and store food, who was able to make a structure that was, relatively weatherproof, that would stand up, that would keep the heat in and the cold out. This took intelligence, right? They would be more likely to survive. They would be more likely to reproduce, raising the IQ of the population over thousands of years. These people didn't have to do anything like that.
According to Mbiti, African languages, at least the East African Bantu languages that he studied, don't have a word to describe the distant future. In African time, according to Mbiti, events create time. Seasons, ceremonies, a conversation, those moments produce time, and people produce as much time as they need.
Mershid, this dude's ears are insane. Yeah, we covered that. He's got insane ass ears. I mean, like, that is some serious. They're all red. Is it cold in there?
That Mbiti uses from the communities that he studied is that a year is measured based on 4 seasons, 2 dry seasons, 2 wet seasons. So a year is only over when those 4 seasons have taken place.
Next time I see an African care worker shouting into a speakerphone on the bus or just propped up against a garden wall, which does happen around here, by the way, in Britain, thanks to the Boris wave, I'll just ask her if she's just...
He doesn't seem too pleased about that. And a lot of Africans just kind of lazing around here, and they make fun of my ears a lot. And I hear them doing it. Of course I hear them doing it. Not because I have big ears, but because they're loud as fuck.
Producing time.
So a year could take 365 days, 390 days. It doesn't matter the number of days in a year. What matters is that the 4 seasons have taken place. And this is in contrast to the...
see, we don't do that. Our time is based on the sun, and we measured the sun, again, over thousands of years very carefully. And when it dips low, very low on the horizon, that is essentially the end of the year. And when it starts coming back above that horizon, that is essentially the start of a new year, right? That usually happens around the winter solstice on December 21st. But I know the new year doesn't happen till the 31st, but that's why it's around that time. That's why it's around that time. It doesn't have to be exactly. There's probably some sort of theological reason that it starts a few days later. I'm not exactly sure.
Western view towards time, where time is a commodity.
And then people are like, what about Chinese New Year? Maybe it has something to do with the start of the growing season. I have no idea. I don't. When is the Chinese New Year? April? I don't know.
That can be spent, saved, wasted, or lost. And according to Mbiti, this is why if foreigners come to Africa and they see people sitting under a tree, they would remark that, okay, why are these people wasting so much time? But in African thought, that sitting under a tree, it's not wasting time. It's either waiting for time or producing time.
So this extract is really entertaining to read as well. It says, when foreigners, especially from Europe and America, come to Africa and see people sitting down somewhere without evidently doing anything, they often remark, these Africans waste their time by just sitting down idle. Another common cry is, oh, Africans are always late. It is easy to jump to such judgments, but they are judgments based on ignorance of what time means to African peoples. Those who are seen sitting down are actually not wasting time, but either waiting for time or in the process of producing time.
What could that possibly mean? How could you be producing time when you're just laying down? or just waiting for something to happen. You're just waiting for something. So you're waiting for like a lion to pop out of the bushes, and then I don't understand. I don't understand that. I don't see how you could be producing time or just waiting for time to happen. That's not time. That's events. You're waiting for events to happen. So you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. You're not creating anything. You're just fucking laying there, waiting to get eaten by a lion.
Yes, I am very culturally prejudiced against this nonsensical view.
Dude, I'm right there with you. My ears are normal size, but I have a problem with my nipple size.
That the future does not exist and the time does not
Maybe he's got big old pepperoni nips. I don't know.
progress linearly, and that you cannot count it because it does not produce civilization. It produces thousands of people just.
Cash Trophy says, hit like, share, and donate, please. Yeah, they're not donating tonight because what's his name? Gave $4,000 on Daywave today, which is like, okay.
Milling about in trees, waiting for food to fall into.
Don't know. I should just wait around for something like that to happen to me. Would you guys be cool with that if I just sat here, just waited for donations? But like the big ones, right? I'm making time. I'm making time. No. I would get bored doing that.
Their lap or events to happen to them. That's not how we run our countries. That's not how my sensibilities are in tuned, I'm afraid. And so if they would like to go and wait for time, they can do it somewhere else.
For me, I think this Western idea of time as a commodity is what drives this Western obsession of progress, development, and some promise.
Christian says, I thought I was playing BF6, but I'm actually making time. No. You're playing BF6, right? Making time is when you do absolutely nothing. At least you're spending time, right? But making time is when you just sit there in stasis, right? And somehow through your awareness or you're just your vibe that you create this time and I guess I don't know how anybody could think like this. Is my IQ too high? Is that what it is? Because I don't think it's that high.
No, look, I agree. Progress is a myth, but that's because the view of the linear progression of history has been dislocated from both.
Progress is a myth. Okay, fine. Whatever. What I love is when they say race doesn't exist. Race doesn't exist. And people are like, point to the race gene. I'm like, shut the fuck up. These people don't even believe in the future. And you're like, the race doesn't exist? Race is a social construct? How do you think like that? How do you think like that? I don't know. I can't understand. And maybe it is I'm just fucking stupid. Maybe I can't wrap my brain around these different styles of thinking, and you just don't know how to live your life properly. Yeah, okay, fine. Then I'm going to live the life I see fit. I'm going to teach my kids to view time, and if they're late, they should be ashamed of themselves for being late because they failed somebody else. They made somebody else wait on them. So it's at least inconsiderate to be late. At least. But not to have any concept. If I went and told my son, my 4-year-old child, that time doesn't exist, he would look at me like I was retarded. If I was like, yeah, tomorrow's not going to happen. He's all like, what? What? He'd be genuinely afraid because he can't understand how fucking wild of a concept that is. It's got to be stupidity. True Eagle says, I'm playing BF6 too, and I'm caught in a time loop. Like Groundhog's Day. So do all black people live in Groundhog's Day? Only every single day they're just worse at it? You know, Bill Murray, he was nailing it after his first month or two, right? He just knew exactly what was going on. He probably killed a bunch of people. He nailed every chick in town. He robbed the bank a few times, right? But like black people, they're in some weird sort of Groundhog's Day where they just get worse at it. Every single time. They're all like, I can't understand why everything keeps changing. This can't be tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't exist. Why do things keep happening differently? It's like a Down syndrome kid. It's like having to explain to a Down syndrome kid.
The Christian conception of history, which means that we move inexorably towards a day of judgment, and so you have to live as if you know not the hour nor the day when you will be judged. Therefore, you should always be virtuous, productive, reverent, and serve worthy dependents. And the Greek view of cyclical history, which is not incompatible with the Christian linear view, by the way, in that the fallen human world and the political world goes in cycles. Things like Polybius's idea of you start with a monarchy, it falls into oligarchy, it then falls into democracy, and then falls into mob rule, anarchy. And so to rescue someone from the anarchy and the collapse of a civilization, they install a dictator or a monarch again, and the cycle begins anew. Strauss-Howe's fourth generational turning idea is...
Art and Cherry says it's NPC mentality. They just go through motions without thought or future consequences. Yeah, well, not only that, I heard when a certain tribe in Africa was going to war, they had AK-47s, Russian AK-47s, and they didn't understand how the sights worked, right? And there's a little thing on the top of the sight that you can adjust that, you know, if your target's like 500 meters out, then you just pull this thing back. But if it's like 1,000 meters out, you pull it back even farther, or you push it forward farther. So it actually accounts for the bullet drop. But they were assuming that if you just put it all the way up to like 1,000 meters, then the gun would be more powerful. And so these tribes were actually shooting over everybody else's head. And so I guess some white people came in and just absolutely decimated them because they understood how the guns work, right? They adjusted their sights to where it was just shooting over everyone's head. That's like those monsters from The Fifth Element, or some sort of like the Lord of the Rings or something like that. Like, how do you have that mentality? Why do you not train at all?
Also very similar. This is not a thing in African thought. The entire future is unpredictable. Things just happen. They appear from the Zamani as if summoned. Like it's like history itself as a spawn point. How do you share a civilization with that perspective? Again, she seems like a perfectly nice and well-read woman. I don't have any hostility towards her. I just think this idea is
she's
mad.
well-read because she got a bunch of books behind her. That's the trick, right? I should put books up. This is not books. This is just a blanket, right? I need books. Would you guys listen to me more if I had books behind me?
Mad.
Or at least think I was a little like smarter and not gay? They'd be all gay books though. They'd be all gay books. Like I have two dads kind of thing.
Reduce my civilization if you keep battery farming foreigners in Britain who think that time doesn't exist. So yeah, Smithsonian was right. Time being a linear progression.
This white chimp's voice is terrible. I mean, it's a voice. I mean, he does look like a chimp, though. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, he's not, but you know, he's making sense.
Property of white European.
I could green screen an adult bookstore behind me.
Christian Protestant cultures.
Books on e-bikes. That's not gay. That's actually pretty cool.
Remember when we said this is white supremacy?
Right.
And
white supremacy. Ooh, okay. White supremacy doesn't exist. It doesn't. It doesn't exist because I know there's a lot of people who want you to think that there's a bunch of white supremacists out there and stuff, but like if you, as a as a human being, don't think that your family or your people deserve to exist and are the best at being themselves, then you would have eradicated yourself long ago, right? Like, what's the point of being like everybody's better than me and we're just groveling nothing? No race thinks that. Black people think the black people are the best. Asian people think that the Asian people are the best. And the rest of them. This is ubiquitous across all races. So white supremacy, whatever you trying to attribute that to, doesn't exist. That's not a real thing. So there. And I'm sorry that white people can like build societies and you hate that. There is a lot of people who hate that, but for some reason, with all that hatred and all that spite, they just keep coming in. If you hate it so much, why do you keep coming here? Why? You can go live in India. You can go live in Mogadishu. Right? It's not hard. Well, I mean, and once you get there, it will be very difficult to live there, yeah. But like, if you hate a people and a place so much, why do you continue to show up? You know?
They said this is white supremacy, and we said that's racist. Turns out it's just
meritocracy equals white supremacy. I mean, like, I'm not even going to say it's meritocracy because in white cultures there is a large amount of nepotism, but this is again common through all cultures, right? And that is what it is. But like, it is more meritocratic than everywhere else. I mean, just everywhere else. Typically. No, I'm not even typically, just, yeah.
accurate, according to Africans themselves.
And this difference shapes everything from politics, economics, to how we live our daily lives.
I believe her.
Because in African thought, the golden age isn't in the future.
Dance not, don't send me books. I don't want your books. I don't want your weird books. I know they're going to be weird. I know you're going to send me your books, and you're going to be like, you should read this one. It's really good. And it's going to be weird. Don't send me your weird-ass books.
It's actually in the Zaman. According to Mbiti, the future is only a shadow until it comes to the present, and then it flows into the Zamani. So in that way, time moves backwards. We are not the ones who move forward into time. So, of course, Mbiti wrote this from a theological point of view because he was trying to explain the nature of African religion. But my main takeaway from the parts of the book that I've read is that unlike Western cultures and religions with end-of-the-world myths, African time has no end. Seasons, years, birth, marriage, death, it's all a cycle. Asante kwa kuta.
Yeah, and that's the crux of the issue. Right? It never ends, and therefore committing crimes has no punishment. If you get the death penalty for killing a white lady, it doesn't matter because that day will never come, and there's not going to be any sort of remorse or anything about that until that day when you do die. And then, okay, fine, maybe there is reincarnation after that, and maybe that's the point you're trying to get at. But still, you're just going to throw your life away? Even if you get reincarnated and this life has no basis on the next life, you don't want to live this one? Just going to throw it away like that? Just so you can stab Whitey in the neck on a train? Why? It seems like, because you still have to, oh, right, no future.
So the most interesting part of that,
I was gonna say, you still have to go to jail for like a long time, right? Before they kill you, you have to go to jail for like a long time. I don't know why they just shoot you on sight, but maybe things will change and they'll just start shooting you on sight. And then, hey, you're good to go, right? There is no technical punishment at all if they just shoot you dead right there, right? Maybe they don't see murder as a crime, but as a as nothing, as just a transfer to the. I don't know. It's a crime.
It's the idea that the golden age has already happened in the past.
It's a
and so you can do
crime.
nothing to bring it about.
Jeez,
So
dude.
there's no point actually doing anything to improve your immediate environment or maintain things. And this is why, as this video that Kunli Drukpa, my favourite Anon account, that you should all be following by the way, posted, there is no, in many African dialects, word for maintenance or repair. This is just stunning.
You're trying to say that, from what I'm understanding, in third world countries, anything that is not under maintenance is because, you know, we don't care.
No, you care. It's not in the concept. Travel the 54 countries in Africa and ask each person in every country, what is wrong with your country? Leadership. Leadership. All of you say the same word. So let me ask you, since 1960, the country has been picking the wrong leader every 4 years.
That's important, by the way, because it says that all of our personal circumstances are not products of our actions. It is the product of some external force that has hit like a lightning rod on one particular leader. So it's that guy's responsibility to fix the entire country.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they understand leadership as we would understand leadership. They expect a leader to actually get someone else to do it. That's leader. That the entire country, everybody there just wants somebody else to do it. And if the leader can't get someone else to do it, then it must be his fault. But like, at what point are you like, one of us has to do it? One of us we can't all just sit here making time, you guys. We can't. We have a lot. We made a lot of time. We have an excess of time. There is a surplus of time. Okay? We can't just sit here continually making more time. What are we going to do with it? One of us has to do something. One of us has to do something. Nope, that's the leader's job. He's supposed to get somebody to do it. No, not me. Not anybody. So it's leadership's problem.
Because it's not your responsibility, because the events have not befallen you yet. So you can't take proactive, predictable action in order to...
Hawk says those chimp ears, man, where are his symbols? I don't know. Probably with his gypsy. All right? He's taking a break doing a YouTube video.
Improve your immediate circumstances. Instead, the particles of the Zamani must collect around one leader who is going to fix things, hypothetically. And so if the leader doesn't fix it, then the problem is only ever the leadership, rather than you not taking personal responsibility to improve your circumstances.
Not a single railway built by the British is in Nigeria today, but the one they built in their country that same year, it's still running. Not a single railway built in Ghana in 1960 is still there today. What do you know in that country that has been properly maintained by the people every day and it works perfectly?
It's hard for people to maintain things when they're not gaining a lot.
No.
What? It's hard for people to maintain things when they're not gaining a lot. Is it? I'm doing this show. I haven't made very much. I made $2. Mersh gave me $2. But I'm still doing it. And I'm going to do it tomorrow too. And the day after that. And the day after that. And even if I don't make a fucking dime this week, I'm still going to continue doing it. Do you understand that maintenance isn't essentially about what you directly attain from that? Like, from what your work that day isn't the payoff, right? This is that entire term where you're supposed to plant trees so you will never sit under the shade of them, or it goes something like that. You're supposed to maintain things and build things for future people, for the future of your country, for the future benefit of society as a whole. But this ideal is very much about what can I gain from it right now. And if I'm not gaining the utmost effect or pleasure right now, if I'm not getting those dopamine bumps right now, then there is simply no reason for me to do it. What the fuck? This is why you have no society. This is why you have no ingenuity. You have no invention. You have no crops. You have no crops. You have no crops because there's no reason to plant the seed because you're not eating right now. That's insanity. Or at least insane amounts of stupidity. A profound level of just no knowledge, not thinking about the future. There's no future. There's no future. There's only your immediate satisfaction. If you're not being immediately satisfied by the work you're doing right this instant, then, or at least in the very near future, I mean, you'll throw a spear to kill like an antelope, right? Or a zebra or something like that, so you can eat the zebra. But that time span is within the day. It's within the hour. It's within 15 minutes, right? But if you're fixing a railroad for a train to come down the railroad next month to bring your village food or clean water, then there's simply no reason to do that. Well, no shit, you're going to fucking suffer and die all the time. Why do you think that's our fault? Why do you think that's a white man's fault? That's your fault for not doing anything. We can't even express to you, we can't even explain to you how limited your thinking is because you don't have the capacity to actually contemplate the future that if you fix this railroad, one day soon, there will be a train that comes down that track that brings you food. Nope. How are we supposed to mesh with a society? How are we supposed to bring these people together? And not just have this monkey on the back, pardon the fucking pun, where we're doing all the work and they're just stealing out of our pockets and fucking shoving it in their mouths.
It's hard for people to maintain things when they don't have the concept of maintenance
Yeah, I have a Ko-Fi. Art and Sherry just posted it.
in their culture. What is the one word in Igbo for maintenance?
Maintenance is
Yeah, it's ko-fi.com/sulkstream if anybody's interested in watching later. Also, if you're watching on X, there's a little tip button at the top if you want to Venmo me something.
there's no direct English word for that. It doesn't translate directly to
That's
maintenance.
correct. How about you?
It doesn't translate.
That's correct.
But it translates to like take care of.
No, that's not maintenance.
That's not maintenance.
So, if we are entrusting generations of first generation and second generation African immigrants to be the custodians of our civilization, not only do they have no reverence or frame of reference for our culture, they don't even have a word for maintenance.
Art and Sherry says you'd think that nature would have fixed this problem already. I'll tell you why it didn't. Because in like the 50s and the 60s, when the population was of African continent was relatively small, like very small, like under 1 million people or something like that. Bunch of bleeding hearts and people and do-gooders and people with good intentions said these people are starving. We should feed them from the sky. We should drop right. And there's all types of problems with that too, in destabilizing the economy in those places. But they just started dropping food on them. Dropping food and all these like well water and stuff like that, right? Oh, they can't build their own wells because they don't believe in the future. So we got to help them because that's our problem now. It's this suicidal empathy that we have, right? And so for decades, we've been dropping food on them, ballooning the population to billions. Billions. And you know what? Now we can't stop because if we stop, there's going to be 1 billion Africans starving to death. And then there's going to be people who will be like, oh, no, those poor Africans. Oh, no, we should send more food. More food when there's starving Americans. When American people are having problems affording the fucking $90 egg carton. We're dropping food on Africa. They're just looking up, expecting it, right? They don't even move out of the way. 2 tons of rice dropping down. They're all like, that's probably not going to hit me. It just squashes half of them. squashes 10 little kids. They're like, it's okay. We'll have more kids. We'll have more of them. They don't even think like that, though. They're just like, I'm not horny. I'm going to soon come on. I'm going to rape something.
Like, they don't know what they're meant to do.
Cargo culture fun, right? And there is, where they built effigies of airplanes in, like, the South Pacific to get, like, because they brought, like, chocolate. They brought, like, weird foods and stuff like that. But we didn't keep doing that. No. We're like, you guys figure it out. And they did, right? And they didn't balloon into some terrible nation that, like, spawns AIDS and monkeypox and stuff like that because they have no reason to take care of themselves because food will drop from the sky. And if they get sick, some people will come on the ship, and then we go on the ship and they'll help us, fix cleft palates and stuff. You know how many billions of dollars this costs? Billions and billions of dollars just to support a continent that has done nothing for the rest of the world ever. 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 Never, ever. Never, ever, ever. And by doing this, we're only doing one thing, which is increasing suffering. That's it. If we just threw our hands up in the air, turned our backs, and did like this, then billions would die, honestly. The billions would die. But that's not our responsibility. That's not up to us. Okay? The first mistake we made was dropping that first UNICEF package and be like, here, have some chocolate bars, right? Here, have some money so some warlord can fucking buy himself a Range Rover while the rest of them still starve to death and eat each other. My God. The problem has been going on far too long.
With the things that they have inherited, that they're currently using. They just run them into the ground and move on. They just leave them there in disrepair.
He is right.
How is this sustainable? It's not. And by the way, the reason I'm saying all this is because the birth rate trends that we have show that there's only going to be like 4 countries in Africa and 2 in Asia that are going to have above replacement birth rates by 2100. And the conclusion of that study's scholars, who were of course sponsored by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, is that we'll just source all of our immigrants from there for the rest of the world. Okay.
Perfect. Great idea. Yeah. Oh, there's too many people here? Well, let's just ship them into the first world and then, we'll make them doctors and lawyers and fucking airplane mechanics and stuff like that. How hard could it be? How hard could it be? What do you need? An average intelligence of like 60 to pull that off? No. This is intentionally destroying society. This is intentionally destroying first world society. Don't tell me it's not, because that's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is.
1, not sustainable. 2, every single country will end up collapsing into disrepair and lose its entire culture because these people can't maintain it, not because they're necessarily bad people, but because they have no concept of maintenance in the first place.
Okay. All right, let me stop you right there. Not necessarily bad people. You're framing that in a very westernized sense. Yeah, you're framing it as like in the West amongst whites and stuff. We have good people who like get up, raise families, go to work and stuff like that, maintain the status quo, build societies, and establish a better future for their children. Right? That is a good person. And then you have bad people which get hammered and like rob people and like stab people and stuff like that. But it's not like that with this group of people. There's essentially nobody who raises their own kids. There's nobody who makes a better future for their children. There's nobody who gets up and goes to work. And again, besides the exceptions. Exceptions make the rule. Generally, there is nobody who does that. So framing them as most likely good people or maybe not bad people or anything like that makes no sense. It makes no sense at all because they have no concept of what is good and what is bad. They do exactly what their impulses tell them to do, which we would consider a bad thing, which we would consider bad people. We have an entire frontal cortex that tells us, don't do that, even though you wanna. Even though you wanna. It tells us, don't do that because there's future repercussions, a concept that they don't have. So being like, well, they're probably good people is bullshit. They're not. They're not good people. We have to frame them in our Western sensibilities, in our Western lens, because there is no lens from their point of view. There's no point of view, right? It's not good people and bad people. It's just people doing whatever the fuck they want all the time, which we would consider bad. So why put them into a society with this kind of delineation between the good and the bad? They will have no concept, and they will end up in jail time after time after time. Because they don't understand the difference between good and bad. I'm just reiterating my same point, but you guys fucking get it, right? You guys fucking get it. This is not an accident. This is not a bleeding heart thing. This is not like, oh, they're going to, once they get a good education, once they have a stable foundation, they're going to be just as smart as everybody else. And they'll understand what time is. They'll understand that you should go to work and try to make a future society and not be a fucking animal and stabbing people whenever the fuck you want. Yeah, because it's all about education. It's all about your fucking... it's all about your upbringing. No, it's not. No, it's not. It is almost exclusively genetic. It is exclusively genetic. And if it's not exclusively genetic, why not just release a troop of chimpanzees into downtown New York? Right? Because it's all about education. We'll just teach them to fucking, I don't know, do algebra or something like that. We put them in a factory. Do you understand the amount of nonsense you're talking about when you say shit like that? When you hear shit like that, it's nonsense.
It's insane. And this is just them saying it themselves.
What is the one word for repair in Igbo?
Imezie.
Exactly. What is the one word for repair in You see? I'm driving you to somewhere. What is the one word for democracy in Igbo language? You don't. How about you? You don't. You're trying to practice something that is not in the concept of the language.
So they will just run it into the ground until it needs to be fixed, but they have no idea how to fix it because they haven't been maintaining it. So it just...
Well, even if they run it into the ground until it needs to be fixed, no one's going to fix it. It's somebody else that has to fix it. No one is going to take it upon themselves to be like, I'm going to fix this well. This is why Mr. Beast is fucking retarded. He's going around, I got millions of dollars to build wells in Africa. Why? That's a complete waste of time and money. And you know that because you know why? They've done that before. They built wells in Africa. They built railroads. They built fucking cities. Do you know what Rhodesia was? South Africa. Liberia. Do they maintain any of those things? No. No. They did not. And they will never do so. So you fucking being your, I have such a golden heart on Mr. fucking Faggy Beast. I'm going to go put wells in Africa. You're wasting your time and you're wasting other people's money, right? If you're a good person, let's just say hypothetically, because I know you're not. You'd be, I have enough money. I got a fucking $1 billion. I'm going to build a bunch of wells in Africa myself. But you know that's a waste of time. But you just want to make it look like you're just such a good fucking person. Put wells in Africa. And it's only going to work for what? A couple of years tops until it breaks. And then no one's going to go out and fix it. No one.
Lies disrepaired. If they don't have a concept of...
Rhodesia was kept by the Dutch. Yeah. So was South Africa. Yeah.
Democracy, then how are they meant to participate in an individualistic, issues-based democracy, and rather than just use it, as Eric Kaufman pointed out in White Shift, as a means to collectively bargain for resource reallocation to their particular tribe or ethnicity or family group. Like, how do we run a civilization like this?
There is no African country, and I've done it through Kenya, I've done it all, that has an equivalent of the word maintenance.
Well, in order to maintain something, you have to have it first. Correct.
No, if I
Yeah, what? So, okay. Okay, that guy's retarded. Because you did have it. You did have it. And if we gave it to you again, the same thing would happen. The same thing would happen in years from now. So you're obviously pretty fucking stupid.
leave it for you, you can maintain it. The British left a lot of things in this country when they left. They established the hospitals, they established...
Hold on, I'm going to check and see if... Damn it. So, I don't know what's going on with my locals, but it keeps cutting off at 30 minutes. I don't know. I've tried a bunch of shit.
The fire station, the post offices, the railway lines, the roads they built before they left. You are not able to maintain it because you don't have that concept. Because your environment...
If anybody can tell me what's going on with my locals, why it degrades from my Rumble, tell me.
The tropical environment of Africa, the way you build your houses, the material you use, you don't require maintenance. Every country that is called industrialized countries, today, one of the things you know about them is maintenance.
Sweetie says the British built cities in Africa. They kicked them out, and it's mostly been torn apart by the local population. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yep. Liberia also happened for a reason. Yeah.
Of what they had. That's why we have buildings here that are about 250 years old, 300 years old in this country. There are buildings in other of Europe that are 700 years ago. The Notre Dame that burned in France was a 13th century building. Do you know what kept it that long till today?
Well, you know what burned it down too, right? It was Muslims. Muslims burned that down. I don't care what the fuck. Oh, it was a construction fire. No, it was Muslims. Muslims went and burnt it down because you let 1 million Muslims into your fucking country, and then, how did all these churches start burning down? Well, I'm gonna, really?
Maintenance is a culture.
Muslims are doing things that they've always done for 1,000 years at least now. At least. When was Islam created? The year 600? So they've been doing this for 1,400 years. And you're shocked because now we live in the 21st century, and so you expect people to live like they're 21st century and be enlightened? Come on, shut the fuck up. Don't act like it's fucking construction or these freak fires or an act of God or anything like that. Muslims are going in and torching the place. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this, and I'm sure you do too. I'm sure you have some sort of security footage of some Muslim guy going in and fucking firebombing the place. Just whatever. If you want to destroy society, fine, but don't lie to us. Don't lie to us.
Now, this chap seems like a well-educated outlier, and Africa would do far better to have people like him running literally everything. But then...
Yeah, but he doesn't want to go there and do that because he knows everybody else there ain't going to listen to shit, and then he's going to be blamed for not being a good leader. That's it.
You see what he has to work with. It's entire populations that don't understand long-term planning. They think the future is entirely unpredictable. They think time is not linear. They think the golden age has already passed, and so there's no point in working for...
All right, well, I'm going to see if I can actually... If I can actually do an ad because no one's fucking donating, so maybe I could do an ad. And is this gonna work? Hold on, let me see if I can make that work. Why isn't this working? Come on, man. Okay, no, it doesn't look like it's gonna work.
For the future, they think you can't maintain a thing if it exists. They inherited the infrastructure of the British Empire and let it fall into disrepair, hence the frustration, famously, of the Chinese chap in the documentary Empire of Dust, who became the meme, "It's all so tiresome." And this has very dangerous impacts on people's ability to take personal responsibility and extend moral consideration out beyond themselves or their family, and to not do serious moral crimes so long as they think they won't get caught and suffer any consequences. And the most famous interaction of this is Ross Kemp talking.
You donating on Ko-Fi? Me. It doesn't say I got a I didn't say I got a donation on Ko-Fi. Yeah, I didn't get it. I didn't get it. It doesn't say I got it. Refresh. Nope. That's weird. Oh, Dan Snot, $5. He says, John is sad he doesn't have an Indonesian scammer to promise him money. Ooh, boo-hoo. $5. I'll take it. I don't care. Look, I'm not telling you guys to fucking donate, but I'm just saying, if no one donates, you're going to hear about it.
Talking to a group of African men about...
What? You will. You will. I'm not saying... Look, I get money's tough, and money is hard, right? But if I don't make any money, I'm going to fucking try to figure out a way to do it. Here, I'm going to see if I can actually do an ad, though, because it pisses me off, and it looks like they're paying pretty good right now. So, yeah, nuts to that. Listen to me. Listen to me. Fuck. I don't know what the problem is. It's right here. Discard. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. So let's see if I can pull this off. It's so frustrating. It really is so frustrating. Let's see if I can. Let's be clear. Cryptocurrency is no longer emerging. It's here. And this latest move cements that reality in the biggest way yet. Trump Media Group just inked a massive $6.4 billion deal with Crypto.com, the world's top crypto platform. They're teaming up to scoop up $6.4 billion in CRO, the powerhouse token that fuels fast, low-fee, DeFi, staking rewards, and real-world perks like cash back on your spends. To launch America's first CRO treasury, when it's done, this new company will be the biggest CRO holder out there. Want in on the action? Head to Crypto.com today and grab some CRO. Let's make crypto great again. Okay, not my best read, but I'll take it. I'll make a couple bucks off of that for sure. That's all I need. That's all I need. You know. And then I assume you donated on Ko-Fi, but for some reason my Ko-Fi just doesn't register it. Maybe it will later. I don't know why. Here, I'll give you a bell for that.
They shouldn't commit sexual abuse. And they find it inconceivable to empathize with the victim of the sexual abuse. The only reason
that's like $15. I'll take $15. That's fine.
They can think of not to do it is if they suffer some personal adverse consequence.
Christian says not your worst. Yeah, that is not my worst. I've done way worser.
Like a punishment, or being beaten by a family member who overhears, or if the woman gets pregnant, or if they contract a sexually transmitted disease. These people...
AIDS, monkeypox. Ah, shit. Wrong one. This stream is AIDS.
Don't have a concept of universal ethics, and they don't have a concept of extrapolating more than one step out from gratifying their...
Hog Dog said, I spent all my donos on cotton. Did you buy a bed? That's cool.
Emotions and impulses, and taking what they want at the expense.
I need to get me one of those Indonesian scammers. I do. Oh, hey, what's up, Doc? He actually, I think he... Yep. Wow, Docky Rock, 5 fucking donut... 5? Oh, God, what is it called? Gifted subs. Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate that. Doc coming in with a savior, dude.
Someone else.
Thank you so much.
Guys, let's go.
Some of them did not screaming. It's like they wanted to be raped, you see. She also grabs you.
They wanted it. They wanted it, right? That's... Okay, you guys, buckle up for this one.
You see no
It's
more
like
crying,
she's enjoying it, you know, even though she isn't, but it's like she's enjoying it.
Do you think it's right? Do you think it's right to rape?
Doc says, my pleasure. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, it's wrong. Yeah, it's wrong.
What about the consequences of what you're doing in terms of how that affects
exactly.
The person that's raped.
Yeah, the consequences, we look at that all the time, you know, because it happens, she might scream, you know, people might wake up. A lot of
That's the consequences. The consequences. She might scream and people might wake up.
people,
I'm
especially.
not just talking about. I'm talking about the emotional effect, the physical effect it has on the
Yeah,
girl.
yeah. Sometimes we know that we might rape her and wake up tomorrow with viruses ourselves, like HIV. You know,
What about regretting what you've done to the girl?
I also do regret about it because if she fell pregnant, what will be that baby's father? Who will be that baby's father?
You see? Do you see? They can't even process the question. He's asking, do you feel bad that you grape that girl because it's going to fuck up her mentality? And then they're like, what? No. Yeah, sometimes I worry I might get AIDS. Or like she'll wake up and scream and then other people come out and like kill me or something like that. Or, you know. Oh, you mean I'm not going to think about myself? I don't understand. That is a wild mentality.
But what about her personal feelings?
Just blank stares and silence. No
It's
wonder
retarded, dude.
we in Britain are now the #1 country in Western Europe, second in all of Europe, for crimes committed by foreign nationals. I think we're the 18th in the world out of over 120 countries. It's because we...
Yikes! Whoa! That is an Whoa! That's an issue. There's more than 18 countries in Africa.
keep importing people like this.
Yeah. I don't know why. There's got to be gangs of like white men just like hunting these black people, right? Right? I know it's illegal, but at some point you just have to say enough is enough. But, you know, maybe they're not. Maybe they're, oh, you stop doing that, sir. And they blow a whistle. That whistle ain't going to do shit. At least in America, we have guns. And we can say things, right? I can't say it on YouTube, but I can say it in real life. I'll just say it loud.
And these people are mixed in among the interpersonally nice and friendly African people who don't cause much trouble but will not sustain our culture because they don't have words or concepts for the future or long-term planning or maintenance. And so...
Or they're just gonna grape everybody, and then it's just gonna turn into hell on earth. Basically that's exactly what's happening. And so you're sitting here talking about, hey, this is not gonna work, like it's doing something. You should fucking gear up, brah. You know, your ancestors kind of fought to make it a nice place, and now everyone's too goddamn polite to do anything about it. Maybe you should change that shit up a little, right? Maybe stop listening to the media. Stop listening to some fucking 45-year-old Karen bleeding heart liberal. And be like, oh, we welcome refugees. Fucking start doing something about it. Put those fucking ears in a helmet. Right? I know it's going to hurt. Right? Just put them on. And just start slashing. Just start slashing. I know you don't have guns up there. So you're going to have to work something out.
Even if there are 0 of these...
Link my PayPal? I can link my PayPal. Yeah, just give me a sec.
Psychopathic, low IQ criminals.
Oh, he's going to get in trouble for that one. That's the one. That's the one he's getting in trouble for. Oh, you sent it to my PayPal. It didn't go through my Ko-Fi. Yeah, I got it. $4.85. He says for the incredible Sulk. Top donor, let's go. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thousands and hundreds of thousands of African migrants who come into the UK every year. We know there are.
I wonder why it didn't show up on my Ko-Fi. That's weird. Arnger, can you... What?
Let's say we screen out all of the rapists from the Congo,
Ah.
these people still aren't going to maintain our civilizations. And so we have to understand how Africa and the broader third world thinks, because if we don't do something soon to encourage them all to leave, our civilization is going to fall into disrepair and they're not going to know how to put it back together again.
Oh, did it end? It ended. It ended. Okay, well, we still have 8 minutes left. Okay. Sure.
What is a Hyperborean?
I've been watching this guy, this Hyperborean knowledge, a lot lately. All right, I watched it today, and he's interesting. I actually put one of his videos up for a thing, and
The Greeks wrote of Hyperborea as
we're just gonna do this for 8 minutes, okay? While I try to figure out how to do
a land of eternal spring where people were untouched by old age or disease. Comes from the Greek
Knobs dog.
words hyper and
Talk to you, Knobs dog.
boreas. Hyper meaning beyond.
That's the
and
gayest thing I
boreas
do.
Meaning the north wind. It is the land beyond the north wind. And
how
there
the fuck do I
people
actually send the actual?
were said to worship.
Because I can have my account summary, but not the actual, like, where it says how to send money here.
Apollo and be his favorite children of man. They're blessed with long life, longevity, and abundance. Many have written about them. Polyanus of Rhodes, Pindar, Herodotus.
I'm gonna figure it out.
Helena Blavatsky said that the Hyperboreans were a root race of mankind that was less than physical, more ethereal in its nature. A bridge between the spirit and the world of matter. But in the context of today and what we discuss, Hyperborean means much more than all that, but also includes
Why didn't they give me the ability to
interpretations.
Direct.
And the Hyperborean is somebody who lives in a symbolic matter. They see and live in the world through meaning, symbols, metaphysics.
Yeah, John's having a stroke.
spirituality,
John's having a stroke.
and not in a specific way.
All right, that should be my PayPal direct link, but I don't know why it's not going through my He sent it to my Ko-fi and it just didn't show up on my Ko-fi, but it went to my PayPal, so I got it. I got it anyway. So thank you, appreciate that.
There are very many specific.
The internet out west has ass AIDS tonight. Is that why? Is that why my my shit's acting funny?
Pathways some could embark on within the Hyperborean way.
Aaron is hyper boring. Is this Aaron? Do you know him?
Many Hyperboreans, for example, would fall under the category of being Norse pagans. But it's not.
What? No bell for the Did you donate? You don't donate, Knobs, but I'll give a bell anyway.
Not exclusive to Norse paganry.
Might as well send that bell some love,
pagan,
you know?
Celtic pagans. There's many different types of people. Hermeticists, even. But as a personal path, I have discovered there are touchstones that highlight its essence. One, for example, is the connection with nature. In any Hyperborean type painting, artwork, meme edit, video, what have you, nature is at the forefront. And Hyperboreans in general want to be in nature.
Knob says I meant the steel toe dork. Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. Is he back? Is he not back? I think he should still be in jail. I don't care. I don't know. I don't keep up with that kind of.
Want to live within.
Let's do 12 rules for soys.
All right, Hyperboreans, we're back. And due to popular requests, today
That's Jordan Peterson's daughter. That's sad, dude.
we are covering
That's sad.
Mr. Jordan Peterson and the 12 rules for soys. Now, before we even
Yeah, I think his name is Aaron. I'm pretty sure.
get started
You troll him in the morning?
on Mr. Peterson.
You haven't been
who,
blocked from there,
by
too?
the way, I had the pleasure of meeting back in 2016 in the Ottawa Public Library when he was giving a lecture in the basement.
You gonna get a kitty? Okay. You guys want to look at a kitty for 2 minutes?
It was then I realized the truth.
Ah!
That this is all a front. This whole masculinity thing is a front. Because when I shake this man's hand, when I shook his hand, it was the absolute weakest handshake of my entire life.
That cat's he's getting wily. He's getting wily. He's a good cat though. That's a good cat.
And it still haunts me to this day.
You have an alt account. Mersh has shown it in his show. Pretty funny.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed you have an alt account because you called me Bahama John in Mersh's chat, and I was like, that's not. That's right there.
True story.
He's getting fucking kicked out of people's chat, and he has to make another account.
We'll get into the Canadian occult connection into this video. Again.
Okay, check PayPal. All right, I'll check PayPal. Hey, look at that. $20, Tweety. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And Peterson.
And you're a chick.
Extremely free carpentry.
I didn't know that.
Amounts of free
appreciate it, though.
carpentry
Thank you so
within this
much.
man's symbolism.
All right, now it's shaping up to be a show. That ain't bad. That ain't bad for a show.
And what he says, with what he teaches, and well,
I don't have a goal like Aaron does. He's got a goal, and I think he continuously misses it every night. But I think it's like, I don't know what it is, but he continuously misses it.
Just look at the fruit.
So don't have a goal then. I mean, like, obviously you can't hit your goal, and so you just look like a failure night after night. I don't care if I don't make any money. I'd prefer it if I did make money, but like, there's been plenty of shows, literally hundreds of shows where I didn't make a dime. That's just me. That's just me. Anyways, thank you so much, guys. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. And thanks for the donos. I didn't mean to pester you guys. I don't want to, pester you guys and be like, give me money. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. I really appreciate it. You being you. You being cultists. You guys are great cultists, and I think you're very handsome and pretty, respectively. Anyways, come back tomorrow night, the same time, same place, and we'll talk about something else, and maybe I'll get angry, because that's typically what I do. Until then, I hope you guys have a fantastic night. And stay strong and stay valiant and be good to each other and do sulky things with sulky people and spread the good word of the cult. And please hit the like button on your way out. It really helps me out. Also, like and sub, all those things. Until tomorrow, be wise, be good, drink a lot of water, get a good night's sleep, and take care of yourselves because I care about you too. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love ya. Good night.
I'm an incredible soul, unhinged and enraged like a bulldog's fierce growl. I'm spitting fire, burning through these trees, questioning the world, unraveling conspiracies. Talking about Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster too, government lies they're feeding me their goo. I'm diving deep into this rabbit hole, uncovering the truth, setting fire to their control. crazy, but I call it woke. Unraveling the madness with every word